The anomaly appeared on the UES Horizon sensors at 3:47 Earth Standard Time. Dr. Sarah Chen stared at the readings, her dark eyes reflecting the holographic display's soft blue glow. After 6 months of deep space exploration, they'd finally found something worth reporting back to Earth. "Captain Reynolds," she called over the ship's comm. "You need to see this." The research vessel's bridge came alive with activity as the crew gathered around the main display. Captain Emma Reynolds, a veteran of Earth's fledgling Space Force, studied the swirling pattern of energy readings with practiced calm. 20 years of deep space exploration had taught her that the most remarkable discoveries often came with the highest risks. "Analysis?" she asked, her voice steady despite the excitement building in her chest. Dr. Chen manipulated the holographic display, expanding the view. "It's like nothing we've ever encountered, Captain. The energy signature suggests technology far beyond our current understanding. Based on the decay patterns, I'd estimate it's been here for at least 10,000 years. The object hung in space like a sleeping giant, a crystalline structure roughly the size of a small moon, its surface etched with patterns that seemed to shift and change as they watched. Bands of energy pulsed through its transparent depths in mesmerizing waves. "Ma'am," Lieutenant Park called from his station, "I'm detecting movement within the structure. Something's activating." Before Reynolds could respond, a beam of light erupted from the crystal's surface, sweeping across the Horizon's hull. The ship's systems flickered momentarily, then stabilized. "No damage," Park reported. "It appears to have been some kind of scan." Dr. Chen's console erupted with new data. "Captain, the artifact is transmitting. The patterns, they're repeating on a fixed frequency. This isn't random, it's a language." Reynolds felt the weight of history pressing down on her shoulders. First contact. After centuries of searching the stars, humanity was about to meet its first alien civilization. She opened her mouth to give orders, but before she could speak, space itself seemed to tear open. A massive ship emerged from what appeared to be a hole in reality. Sleek, predatory, and unmistakably built for war. Its hull was covered in what looked like living metal, shifting and rippling like muscle beneath skin. It dwarfed the Horizon, making their state-of-the-art research vessel seem like a toy in comparison. "Multiple weapon systems detecting targeting locks," Park announced, his voice tight with tension. "Their power readings are off the charts." A voice filled the bridge, speaking perfect English with an unsettling metallic undertone. "Human vessel, you have accessed restricted property of the Vraxian Empire. Your primitive species was not meant to discover this beacon for another 3 centuries. You have disrupted the natural order of technological progression." Reynolds stepped forward, her mind racing. "This is Captain Emma Reynolds of the Earth vessel Horizon. We are a peaceful research mission. We had no way of knowing this artifact was restricted." "Ignorance does not excuse interference," the voice replied. "The Empire has monitored your species since you first achieved spaceflight. You were deemed too aggressive, too unpredictable for early inclusion in galactic society. This discovery forces our hand." New alarms blared as more ships began emerging from similar spatial rifts. Dozens of them, forming a battle sphere around the Horizon and the artifact. Each vessel bristled with weapons that made Earth's most advanced military technology look primitive in comparison. "You have 24 Earth hours to deliver our ultimatum to your leaders," the voice continued. "The human race will submit to Vraxian authority and accept supervised technological development, or we will be forced to eliminate your species entirely. The natural order must be preserved." Reynolds felt her crew's eyes on her, looking for guidance, for hope. She thought of Earth, billions of lives now hanging in the balance because of their discovery. The Vraxians clearly expected humanity to bend the knee, to accept subjugation out of fear. They clearly didn't understand humans very well. "Lieutenant Park," she said quietly, "prepare a quantum burst transmission to Earth Command. Full sensor data, including everything we've recorded about their ships and weapons." She turned to Dr. Chen. Doctor, download everything you can from that artifact. If it's their technology, we need to understand it. And the Vraxians, Captain? Park asked. Reynolds stared at the alien armada through the bridge viewport, her jaw set with determination. Tell them we'll deliver their message. But make sure Earth Command understands. We don't negotiate with empires that threaten our species with extinction. If it's a fight they want, humanity will give them one they'll never forget. As the Horizon prepared to return to Earth, Reynolds couldn't shake the feeling that they had just stumbled into something far bigger than first contact. The artifact, the Vraxians' reaction, their knowledge of Earth, it all suggested a deeper game being played, with humanity as unwitting pawns. But if there was one thing humans excelled at, it was changing the rules of the game. The Vraxians would learn that lesson soon enough. 3 kilometers beneath the surface of Mars, Dr. Marcus Zhang stood before the gleaming hull of humanity's greatest secret. Project Aurora hadn't been built with war in mind, but now it represented Earth's best hope for survival. The quantum core is stable, he reported to the assembled military and scientific leadership. We've successfully integrated the principles we discovered in the Vraxian artifact's energy signature. If our calculations are correct, Aurora can match their faster-than-light capabilities. General Diana Santos, Earth Defense Force Commander, studied the massive ship through the reinforced observation window. Unlike the organic-looking Vraxian vessels, Aurora was all sharp angles and purposeful design, its dark hull adorned with experimental metamaterials that could absorb or redirect energy. 17 hours until their deadline, Santos said, her voice tight. The Security Council is deadlocked. Half want to try negotiating, the other half want to fight. Meanwhile, our long-range sensors show more Vraxian ships arriving every hour. Zhang touched the window, his reflection overlaying the ship beyond. They're not here to negotiate, General. The data Captain Reynolds brought back confirms it. The Vraxians have been manipulating human development for centuries, keeping us contained, controlling our rate of progress. They're not interested in peaceful coexistence. Then we need Aurora ready to fly. Santos turned to face the assembled team. What's the status of the weapon systems? Dr. Yuki Tanaka, head of weapons development, stepped forward. Her hands moved through the air, conjuring holographic diagrams. The quantum lance is operational. Based on our analysis of Vraxian shield technology, it should be able to penetrate their defenses. But there's a catch. She gestured, and the hologram showed a simulation of the weapon firing. The energy requirements are massive. Each shot drains nearly 30% of Aurora's power. We'll only get 3, maybe 4 shots before we have to recharge. That's assuming the theory holds up in practice, Zhang added. We're building on stolen technology we barely understand, combined with theoretical physics that we've never tested in combat conditions. Santos watched another Vraxian ship appear on the long-range tactical display. We're out of time for doubts, Doctor. How soon can Aurora fly? The automated systems are online. Life support is stable. We can launch within 6 hours, but Zhang hesitated. We still haven't found a way to protect the crew from quantum feedback during dimensional transitions. The neural interface required to pilot Aurora through quantum space, it could kill them. The room fell silent. They all knew what he wasn't saying. The ship was ready, but whoever flew it would be undertaking what amounted to a suicide mission. Show me the interface, a new voice said. All heads turned to see Commander Sarah Chen enter the control room. The former science officer of the Horizon looked different now, harder, more determined. The past week had changed them all. Commander, Santos began, you're not cleared for. I discovered the artifact, Chen interrupted. I decoded their language, their technology. I've spent every waking moment studying their systems. I'm the most qualified person to pilot Aurora, and you know it. Zhang pulled up the neural interface specifications. Sarah, the quantum feedback could fry your neural pathways. Even if you survive, the damage could be permanent. Chen studied the data with the same intensity she'd shown when first examining the alien artifact. The Vraxians think they can predict everything we'll do. They think they understand human nature because they've been watching us, manipulating us. But they've never seen humans with our backs against the wall. They've never seen what we're truly capable of. She turned to General Santos. "Give me 3 hours with the interface. I'll be ready." Santos looked from Chen to the massive ship waiting in its underground berth. Everything humanity had built, every life on Earth, hung in the balance. And their best hope lay in an experimental ship piloted by a scientist willing to risk her mind and life to save her species. 3 hours, Santos agreed. "Dr. Zhang, begin launch preparations. I want Aurora ready to break atmosphere the moment Commander Chen completes integration testing." As the team dispersed to their stations, Zhang caught Chen's arm. "Sarah, there's something else you should know. We found a pattern in the artifact's code, something the Vraxians try to hide. We think they're not the only ones out there. And not all alien species agree with their methods." Chen's eyes narrowed. "You think there could be potential allies? If we can survive long enough to find them." Zhang glanced at the neural interface waiting to be installed. "Just try not to die up there. The Vraxians might not be our last first contact." Chen managed a smile that held equal parts determination and fear. "First, we have to show them humanity won't be controlled. After that, well, the galaxy might be in for some surprises." As the final launch preparations began, Aurora's systems hummed to life. Its quantum core pulsing with energy humanity had never meant to harness so soon. In less than 3 hours, it would either change the course of human history or become a footnote in the story of their extinction. The Vraxians had spent centuries ensuring humanity developed according to their plan. They were about to learn that humans had a habit of breaking even the most carefully laid plans. The quantum void screamed around Aurora as Commander Sarah Chen guided the experimental warship through dimensions humans weren't meant to traverse for centuries. Her consciousness stretched across the ship's systems through the neural interface, every sensor reading and status update burning directly into her awareness. The pain was extraordinary, but she forced herself to focus on the mission. The Vraxian fleet hung in high orbit above Earth, 57 warships arranged in a perfect geometric pattern. Their ultimatum had expired an hour ago, and they were preparing to demonstrate the consequence of humanity's defiance. "Transit complete in 5 seconds, Chen announced, her voice echoing strangely through Aurora's comm system. "Running silent. They haven't detected us yet." In Aurora's command center, General Santos and Dr. Zhang watched through Chen's sensor feed. The neural interface let them experience a fraction of what she saw. The Vraxian ships glowing with energy signatures that human technology shouldn't have been able to detect. "Their weapons are powering up," Zhang reported, his hands dancing through holographic displays. "They're targeting major population centers, starting with New York." Chen felt Aurora's quantum core pulse in sync with her heartbeat. The ship had become more than a machine. It was an extension of her consciousness, responding to her thoughts faster than any manual control system could. The Vraxians' arrogance had led them to position their ships in a ceremonial formation rather than a tactical one. They were about to pay for that mistake. "Remember," Zhang's voice crackled through her neural link, "the quantum lance needs 15 seconds to recharge between shots. You'll be vulnerable." Chen didn't respond. She was already moving Aurora into position, using the ship's metamaterial hull to bend light around them. To the Vraxian sensors, they were nothing more than a brief gravitational anomaly, easily dismissed as a sensor ghost. The lead Vraxian ship began its firing sequence. Chen struck first. Aurora's quantum lance lashed out, not energy or matter, but a concentrated stream of altered space-time that ignored conventional shields. The beam connected with the Vraxian flagship, and reality itself seemed to shudder. Where the lance struck, the alien ship's hull simply ceased to exist, quantum fields unraveling its molecular structure. The massive vessel split in half, secondary explosions cascading through its core. Chen was already moving, pushing Aurora's engines beyond their tested limits. The neural interface burned like fire in her skull, but she forced herself to endure it. By the stars. The Vraxian command channel erupted with panic. Unknown vessel detected. It's using restricted technology. All ships, battle formation. But Chen had already targeted her second shot. Another Vraxian warship vanished in a cascade of quantum destruction. The remaining vessels broke their ceremonial pattern, trying to establish a defensive screen. Their weapons fired, filling space with energy beams and exotic particles. Aurora danced through the barrage, its hull absorbing or deflecting what it couldn't dodge. Chen felt every impact, every course correction. Blood trickled from her nose as the neural feedback intensified, but she didn't dare disconnect. She was the ship, and the ship was her. Multiple ships approaching from quantum space, Zhang warned. Vraxian reinforcements. Chen smiled despite the pain. No, look at their energy signatures. New ships emerged from quantum space, dozens of them, their designs unlike anything human or Vraxian. They moved with impossible grace, their weapons targeting the Vraxian fleet with devastating precision. This is Commander Zariel of the Free Systems Alliance, a new voice declared on all frequencies. We've been waiting centuries for a species to challenge Vraxian dominance. Humanity has proven itself worthy. The Alliance stands with Earth. The battle became a chaotic dance of quantum physics and conventional warfare. Aurora struck again and again, Chen pushing both herself and the ship beyond their limits. The Alliance vessels proved to be master strategists, herding the Vraxian ships into killing zones where their superior numbers meant nothing. Chen, Zhang's voice was urgent. Your neural patterns are degrading. You need to disconnect. She ignored him, concentrating on her final target. The Vraxian command ship tried to escape into quantum space, but Chen had anticipated the move. Aurora's quantum lance struck just as the ship began its dimensional shift. The result was catastrophic, a cascade failure that rippled through space-time itself. When the quantum distortions cleared, the remaining Vraxian vessels were in full retreat. The space above Earth was littered with the debris of their once mighty fleet. Victory, Chen whispered, blood now flowing freely from her ears. Tell Earth. Tell them we're free. Her consciousness began to fade as the neural interface overloaded. The last thing she saw through Aurora's sensors was the Alliance fleet moving to protect Earth, their ships forming an honor guard around humanity's first true warship. Zhang's voice seemed to come from very far away. Medical team to the neural chamber. Get her out of there now. As darkness claimed her, Chen's last thought was of the artifact that had started it all. The Vraxians had intended it to monitor humanity's development. Instead, it had become the key to their liberation. Sometimes, she reflected, the best way to predict a species' behavior was to let them choose their own path. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity was finally free to forge its own destiny among the stars. Commander Sarah Chen opened her eyes to find herself in a medical bay unlike anything she'd ever seen. The walls pulsed with soft bioluminescence, and what appeared to be living crystal formations monitored her vital signs without any visible technology. Welcome back, Commander, a melodious voice said. You have been unconscious for 3 Earth days. Chen turned her head to see a being that challenged her understanding of life itself. The Alliance representative, Zariel, appeared to be made of translucent crystal and flowing energy, yet moved with organic grace. Their form shifted constantly, like watching Aurora Borealis given consciousness. The neural damage? Chen asked, her voice hoarse. Extensive, but not irreparable. Our medical technology is considerably advanced compared to both human and Vraxian capabilities. Though I must say, your survival is remarkable. The quantum feedback should have destroyed your consciousness entirely. Chen tried to sit up, and found her body responding smoothly despite the days of inactivity. Aurora, Earth, both safe, Zariel assured her. Your ship has been moved to a secure Alliance facility for repairs and study. As for Earth, They gestured, and a holographic display appeared in the air. Perhaps you should see for yourself. The image showed Earth orbit, but not as Chen had ever seen it. Alliance vessels hung in protective formations around the planet, their crystalline hulls refracting sunlight in rainbow patterns. But more remarkably, construction was already underway on massive orbital structures. The Coalition Council has voted unanimously to accelerate Earth's technological development, Zaril explained. The Vraxians' defeat has shattered their monopoly on controlled species advancement. Many races they've been suppressing are now looking to Earth as an example. Coalition Council? Chen asked. Yes. Much has happened while you recovered. Representatives from Earth have been meeting with the Free Systems Alliance leadership. We're reorganizing into a new political entity, the Coalition of Free Worlds. Earth has been offered a founding member position. Chen watched as ships of various designs moved through the construction zones. Some were clearly Alliance vessels, but others. Those are human ships, she realized. But they're using technology we shouldn't have for decades. Your Dr. Zhang has proven remarkably adaptable to advanced concepts. When shown the principles behind our technology, he and his team began making innovations we hadn't considered. It's exactly why the Vraxians' approach was fundamentally flawed. Controlled development stifles innovation. A familiar figure entered the medical bay. Dr. Zhang himself, though he now wore what appeared to be a combination of human and Alliance technology integrated into his clothing. "Good to see you awake," he said with a genuine smile. "We've been busy." "Marcus," Chen started to say, but he held up a hand. "Before anything else, you need to see what we found in the Vraxian command ship's database. The artifact that started all this, it wasn't their technology at all. They found it, just like we did, but they used it to build their empire instead of understanding its true purpose." Zhang activated his own holographic display, showing complex patterns that Chen recognized from her original analysis of the artifact. "It's a test," he explained, "left by a species far more advanced than either humans or Vraxians. They seeded these artifacts throughout the galaxy, waiting for species that would use them for advancement rather than control." "The predecessors," Zaril added. "We've found similar artifacts, but never managed to activate them fully. Something about human neural patterns, particularly yours, Commander, resonates with their technology. It's why you survived the quantum feedback that should have killed you." Chen absorbed this information, her scientist's mind already racing with implications. "So when I interfaced with Aurora, you weren't just controlling advanced technology," Zhang confirmed. "You were proving that humanity could handle it responsibly. The Vraxians failed that test millennia ago when they chose to use the artifacts to dominate other races." A new alarm sounded, and Zaril's crystalline form pulsed with what Chen was learning to recognize as concern. "Speaking of the Vraxians, long-range sensors have detected major fleet movements. They're consolidating their forces, likely for a counterattack. They can't afford to let their defeat go unchallenged." "Then we don't give them the chance," Chen said, swinging her legs off the medical bed. "How long until Aurora is ready to fly?" "Sarah," John protested, "you nearly died. And now we know why I survived. The predecessor's technology responded to me for a reason. Besides," she managed a wry smile, "someone needs to teach our new allies how humans fight." Zaril's form shimmered with what might have been amusement. "The Coalition fleet commanders are eager to learn. Your tactics against the Vraxians were unorthodox. That's humanity's greatest strength," Chen said, watching the combined fleet preparations through the holographic display. "We don't think like an empire. We think like survivors, like innovators. And now we have allies who appreciate that." The medical bay's crystal formations pulsed as if in agreement. Beyond the viewport, Earth's orbital space continued its transformation. Construction crews from a dozen species worked alongside humans, building the infrastructure for a new era of galactic civilization. The Vraxians had wanted to control humanity's development. Instead, they had unleashed something far more powerful. Humanity's potential, unchained, and ready to help forge a new future for all species who valued freedom over control. The Vraxian homeworld loomed before them, a jewel of artificial perfection orbited by the largest military fleet ever assembled in the galaxy's history. 5,000 warships formed an impenetrable barrier around the cradle of their empire. Behind them, the combined forces of the coalition of free worlds prepared for the final battle. Commander Sarah Chen stood on Aurora's bridge, now permanently modified to accommodate her unique connection to the ship's quantum systems. The neural interface had become part of her, changing her in ways even Alliance medical science couldn't fully explain. She could see the quantum foundations of reality itself, understanding instinctively how to manipulate them. The Vraxian Emperor is broadcasting, Dr. Zhang reported from his station, where he coordinated with the coalition fleet. They're demanding our surrender. Chen allowed herself a small smile. Let's hear it. The Emperor's image appeared on the main view screen, a being of metallic scales and cold precision, wearing ornate armor that seemed to flow like liquid metal. You have violated the natural order, the Emperor declared. For 10,000 years, we have guided species development, preventing the chaos of unrestricted advancement. Submit now, and we may yet restore balance. General Santos, representing Earth's military command, stepped forward. You didn't guide species, you enslaved them. Humanity rejects your order. The coalition rejects it. This ends today. Then you have chosen extinction, the Emperor replied. Our fleet will. Chen cut the transmission with a thought. Through Aurora's sensors, she could see energy building in the Vraxian fleet, enough firepower to destroy worlds. But she could also see something else, something in the quantum substrate of space around the Vraxian homeworld. Marcus, she called to Zhang. Are you seeing these patterns? They're similar to the artifact, but on a planetary scale. Zhang's hands flew over his console. The whole system is built on predecessor technology. The Vraxians didn't just find one artifact. They found an entire network and built their civilization on top of it. Without understanding its true purpose, Chen finished. She opened a channel to Zarl's flagship. Commander, I need the coalition fleet to hold position. There's another way to end this. The Vraxian fleet is preparing to fire, Zarl warned. Whatever you're planning. Trust me, Chen said, and began interfacing with Aurora at a deeper level than ever before. The pain was extraordinary, but she pushed through it, reaching out to touch the quantum framework that the Vraxians had unknowingly built their empire upon. The predecessor network responded to her touch. Just as the Vraxian fleet opened fire, reality shifted. Their weapons discharged harmlessly into void space as Chen used the network to create a quantum barrier around their entire system. Impossible. The Emperor's transmission cut back in automatically. Those systems are locked to our control. How are you? You never had control, Chen replied, her voice resonating with quantum harmonics. The predecessors didn't leave their technology to build empires. They left it to find species worthy of joining them. Through her connection to the network, Chen could see the truth of it all. The tests, the artifacts, the patient waiting for races that would choose cooperation over domination. The Vraxians had failed that test millennia ago, but instead of learning from their failure, they had tried to prevent other species from succeeding where they could not. The network is responding to her neural patterns, Zhang reported with awe. It's changing the Vraxian ships, their weapons, their engines. One by one, the Vraxian fleet systems went dark. The quantum technology they had borrowed, but never truly understood, was being reclaimed by its original makers. On the surface of their homeworld, thousands of years of technological development began to shift and transform. You're destroying everything we built. The Emperor raged. No, Chen corrected. I'm giving your people a second chance. The predecessors believed in redemption as much as they believed in progress. Your weapons are gone, but your basic technology remains. What you build from here will be truly yours, not stolen and misused. The coalition fleet watched in amazement as the mighty Vraxian Empire was transformed. Their warships became standard spacecraft, their quantum weapons reduced to conventional arms. In the space of an hour, they were reduced to a pre-quantum civilization. The choice is yours now, Chen addressed the Emperor and his people. Join the coalition as equals, build relationships instead of barriers, share knowledge instead of hoarding it. Or remain isolated, but know that you'll never again have the power to control other species' destiny. As the coalition fleet moved to secure the system, Chen finally released her connection to the predecessor network. She felt different, expanded somehow, as if her consciousness had touched something vast and eternal and been forever changed by it. The Vraxian civilian government is requesting peace talks, Santos reported. Their military command structure is dissolving without their technological advantage. Zhang approached Chen's station, concern evident on his face. Sarah, your neural patterns. They're not human anymore, not entirely. I know, she replied calmly. The predecessors didn't vanish, Marcus. They evolved, became something beyond physical form. What happened to me during that first quantum interface with Aurora? It was the beginning of a transformation they've been waiting eons to share. She turned to face the view screen, where the Vraxian homeworld now shone with ordinary sunlight, stripped of its artificial perfection, but perhaps more beautiful for it. Humanity's real test wasn't defeating the Vraxians. It was choosing what to do with victory. We chose to offer peace instead of dominance. And now we're ready for what comes next. And what is that? Santos asked. Chen smiled, her eyes reflecting quantum possibilities that only she could see. Evolution, General. The predecessors left their technology as breadcrumbs, leading us to the next stage of consciousness itself. And thanks to the coalition, we won't be taking that journey alone. As Aurora turned toward Earth, Chen felt the predecessor network humming through the fabric of space, not a weapon or a tool of control, but a bridge to humanity's next great adventure. The Vraxians had tried to write the story of galactic civilization. Instead, they had become just one chapter in a much greater tale. The war was over. The real journey was just beginning.